kings. That means anything that you want to be in life, you can be that. We all kings. The show still is all about inspiring, motivating, galvanizing, bringing us all together, and just trying to take this to another level. We know that we all got it in us. That's our calling. You are queens, ladies, and we are kings. And so that's what we call for. And then hopefully we can step into our calling, and then everybody can start pushing each other's, and we can get there. Come on this journey with us, y'all. Okay, here we go, Self-Made Kings. So y'all know that's us, and y'all know who we are. And here we go again. I just want to say this today. Man, it's a beautiful day out today. I mean, it's nice. We up north. I always try to tell y'all, just come up 75. Be right in between Dayton and Toledo, about 60 miles from Dayton, and you just come up 75 and just veer off just a little bit. Right up here, a little line where you will see us, man. We right off the highway. Come see us, man. We got so much talent. We got so many things going on around here that a lot of people need to know about. So this show is all about that. It's all about trying to get people up out of their comfort zone and just trying to go for the different things they know. I just got asked what was Self-Made Kings about. All right. Well, it's all about trying to inspire, motivate, galvanize people together. You know, self-made kings come from, I mean, we call each other's kings, but it's all about just being and coming out your comfort zone and just doing the things that you never really just thought you can do. It's 23, year 23. Michael Jordan is number 23.
True.
I mean, everything this year, if you haven't done it, let's do it this year. Okay?
All right. I'm done.
All right, that's what I'm talking about. But let me get some shout outs out the way today. So we got fans, and I want y'all to know today, man, that we reaching this all over the continent. We got fans in the Caribbean. We got fans in Mexico. We got fans in Puerto Rico. We got fans in the UK, Australia, and Africa. Come on, man. What we doing? We reaching out. And of course, you already know we love this Ohio area. And so we just work from Cincinnati, Dayton, Columbus. We love y'all. Toledo, we love y'all, man. Y'all showing us love. If you want to give y'all the love right back. Okay? All right. So let's get this show on the road. We got a special show for you today. I want to introduce these people that's here. I want to introduce us first because a lot of time I forget to introduce myself. So what we gonna do? We got Sonny over here. This is my host, man. Get right here, y'all. Come on. Yeah. Of course, we got Big Lou. That's my partner in crime. Oh, maybe I should say that. And I'm Big D. They call me the Dream. Okay. But these lovely ladies right here is the ones that the show is all about. Okay. They doing different things in the community. A lot of times we do things and it's just not noticed, man. And I wanted to have them on the show so we can just kind of bring that out. Let people know what you're doing. A lot of times you be doing things and you just be trolling along and you never get no kind of accolade, and nobody never say thank you or anything like that. Just what the show is all about. Get you guys on here, finding out a little bit more about you, telling you thank you, and about the things that you're doing and stuff like that.
That's right.
Okay, so over here we got Katie from Crimes and Victim Services, and we got Carla.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, let's give it a hand. Come on. From now, first of all, we're going to start out because I want to say this. Katie, me and her been working back and forth here the last couple of months trying to put this show together. And I just want to say thank you for finally having you.
Well, thank you for
sticking with us. And you kind of like that Katie who I thought was going to be Katie. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I mean, you know, you got like this personality seem like it's just bubbling. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know what I'm saying? And we love things like that.
We love it.
Yeah. So the show is all about just trying to be and bringing more awareness about crime and victim services. A lot of time people, when you say that, man, people run the other way. You know what I'm saying? So we want people to kind of just feel like they there. We feel like they there to help. And you can talk to them, and it's not like they not the investigators. They refer you to whatever you need and whatever problem. They just help you navigate through that problem. Okay, so let's work on that. All right. But first, I want the people to know a little bit more about Katie. So, Katie, just tell us a little bit more about you, kind of like where you come from, what you got, how you got started in this field. And just let the people know a little bit more about you. You know, that bubbling personality.
I was born and raised in Lima.
In Lima?
Yes.
Okay.
My mom went back to college when I was little, and so we lived in Bluffton for a little while. But I went to Ohio State University in Columbus.
Oh, State.
Okay.
OH. So I was there for 10 years. I got my undergrad and my master's degree in social work.
Okay.
And started my career in crisis care with young children in the Columbus area, working with children's services there. And then my husband and I we're high school sweethearts from our senior year. Got married in 2001. Okay. And when we decided to start our family, we decided to move back home.
Okay.
It was what we knew. It was what was comfortable.
Yeah.
All of our parents were here.
Yes.
Half of them were retired, so it was
Right.
it was cheaper.
Yeah.
I'm a social worker. I don't make you're not into this field for.
Yes.
You will never be rich being a social worker.
No.
Right. That is crazy.
And my husband works in construction. He's union carpenter, so he worked up here most of the time anyway. So we moved back here. Our son was born in Columbus, moved back here, and then our other son was on his way.
Okay.
So I was able to stay home with them while he worked, and that was a blessing.
Yes,
and when they were old enough to go to preschool, I started working at the library just to get out of the house, make some grocery money, just be around others.
Go get her. Still a go get her.
And then my father is a local attorney. He's also now a local judge.
Okay.
And he asked me to come and help work with him and his title agency. Okay. So it's completely different than what my skill set is, but he believed in me and he's like, "You're a great micromanager, so let's give it a go."
All right.
Let's do it.
So I started working for him, and then he was appointed a judge. And he didn't have a partner, so we closed down the law office. And then my mom is also a social worker, and she was working at Crime Victim Services for a few years. And I actually started at Crime Victim Services as the office cleaner.
Okay, wow.
Okay.
So
now that's how you work your way up.
My mom's like, "We need somebody. Do you want to start?" I'm like, "Okay." And then they knew that I have my independent social work license, and so I got to know everybody who was working there, and then they needed help, and then they got a little bit more funding, so we started the guardianship program, and so I kind of organically worked my way into the guardian program. So I'm the coordinator. It's a volunteer-based adult guardianship program, and I'm the coordinator for that.
Okay. Wow, that's crazy. So you started like you was doing, you say just cleaning around the office. I mean, did it just like hit you that I just want to kind of like just do this? I mean, because it got to be something, to me, social work seems like a lot of time you do it from the heart. Because you just said y'all don't get paid a lot from it. So you got to, have a little more invested in it.
But when I was no longer working for my stepdad, I started we had a medical emergency with my grandparents. So I was helping take care of them, which has kind of exposed me to elders a lot in the system, in different programs and things that work with elders. And I also have experience in our family with guardianship, some knowledge from that. So I just kind of got to know everybody. And when I was there, people should work, and I'm a big talker, so I like to
right.
I like to meet people, get to know people, and my mom was there too, so that was always a good connection. So it just kind of when the opportunity came, it kind of helped me one way or the other.
That's good. Now, who is Phyllis?
Who's Phyllis? Phyllis Neff, Mother Neffer. Her name. So Phyllis was with our agency from almost the very beginning.
Man, I hear so much about this Phyllis.
She's the third person that David Voth, who was our original director, executive director, hired.
Second person he hired.
Oh, that's right. And so she was started in felony court advocacy. Did she start? Anyway, she was in the court advocacy program for most of the time, and she was a wonderful person. She was very kind and loving and calm and patient, fierce at the same time. She would fight for her people, her survivors and victims and families. She worked with the felony court cases, so the murders and the big cases, and she was an inspiration. I'm gonna cry.
I know.
If you start inspiration to everybody.
I'm telling you, if the people that talked about her, when they say crime victim service, they say Phyllis. They say Phyllis. And I'm like, okay. And I mean, this comes from like 4 or 5 people already.
Right. So is one of those people that you want to know her is to love her.
Yeah, I bet.
And she never.
Because she loved you.
She did, right. And she told you, and she was always very vulnerable about that, and she was always checking in on you, even if she had nothing to do with what your program does or whatever. She was very empathetic, and she could just feel it, you know.
Right.
She'd always made sure she took. I mean, she was very, very busy in that position, but she always took time to check in on everybody. Just was a source of education and
light.
Yes.
Yeah.
She started our memorial garden.
Yes. Yeah.
So we have a brick garden out front of Crime Victim Services that is meant to memorialize the people that have died from gun violence in this area.
And before you go, Carla, where is Crime Victim Service at?
The main building is 330 North Elizabeth Street.
330 North Elizabeth Street.
We're in downtown Lima.
Downtown Lima.
You can walk in and get the services.
Okay.
You don't have to call an appointment.
I need to put you on.
Yeah. Oh no, that's all right. But on your way in the door, what you'll see is at the street level, we have a brick garden.
Okay.
It was recently rededicated to Phyllis, and Phyllis is named after her passing.
Yes.
So we unfortunately lost her to the pandemic, but Phyllis was the person who I never felt embarrassed working for Crime Victim Services because I would always run into somebody that she had worked with.
Yeah.
And they always had a good impression
Wow,
of
that's
Phyllis
crazy, man.
and of our
That's
agency.
crazy. Yeah.
That's a
blessing.
You want that. That's a blessing. And like I said, and that's, you'd be surprised, man. That might be why y'all still there, you know. Because sometimes you be,
I have no doubt.
Yeah, you might want to take a, a tour, I don't want to do this no more, Then you see somebody like her and put in that type of work.
Mm-hmm.
So the Guardian program. Now, so when you hear about the Guardian program, what's the thing that's going on that's going to get people to come to it, to understand that they can be a guardian, more about the guardianship, and what's really got it to where people don't really want to be a guardian no more?
That's a good. Guardianship is not easy. It's not an easy role to have, but for some people it's necessary.
Yes.
And some people don't even know what adult guardianship is.
Right.
So there's guardianship of juveniles and children, or people, kinship things, or take over foster care, those type of things. Adult guardianship applies to adults who are not functionally able to make decisions for themselves. They're considered to be, the legal term is incompetent. Medical term is incapacity. So these are people who are living with developmental and intellectual disabilities, severe mental illness, aging issues, so Alzheimer's and dementia, and traumatic brain injury. And it doesn't mean that those people who live with those conditions all are incompetent.
Right.
But those are the source of the incompetence, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And so naturally, some people take care of their family, and you're there to do those things. But that's becoming less and less. There's distance between families. There's conflict within families. People living with mental illness can often burn some bridges, and those relationships are really tricky. And so having a family member be in charge of someone or having to make decisions can sometimes be a real thorn in that relationship. And oftentimes, traditionally, attorneys have served as guardians. But most of the people under guardianship, I would say, would be considered indigent, so they don't have really much money. Their income is based on government benefits or Social Security benefits or what have you, disability benefits. So the attorneys are trying to maintain their practice and their other caseload. So there's not as much money in it. That's right. What was I supposed to say? And there's less attorneys doing this kind of work. Right.
Or
there's attorneys who
not that much money.
Right. Or there's attorneys who have done it for a really long time and they're retiring.
Yes.
Or they're stopped. So there's not as young, they're not nobody's picking it up. And there's also been a law change in 2015 at a state level where they required more training on the part of the guardian, more reports to the court, making sure that they were required to see their person at least once a quarter, which doesn't seem like very much, but before there was not that requirement. Right. So there's more time commitment to it.
Yes.
But the reason behind those things were also because guardians needed to be held accountable.
Yeah.
Because there were situations where guardians were, if you Google guardianship, you're going to find the worst case cases about it and
Yes.
exploitation and things
Yes.
like that. But the way the law is written is that the guardian is there to advocate and to give consent for people who are struggling, to make decisions for themselves, to make sure that they are safe and they are taken care of. They're not providing services unless it's a parent. Sometimes parents, they live with them or whatever.
Yes.
But the idea is to make decisions with them.
Right.
And that's one of the kind of the myths of guardianship is that, some people say, well, this person they just need to get a guardian and they're going to do X, Y, and Z. Well, just because you have a guardian doesn't mean that you're controlling somebody's life. That's not the idea.
Right.
So the idea, and it's written in the law, that you include your person to the level of their ability to help make decisions to ensure that they're, they're safe.
Yes.
Making sure that the services that they're getting are appropriate for them.
Exactly.
Making sure that they stay qualified for benefits. Making sure they're getting their haircut, those kind of just simple things, but you're going to have somebody who, I always use these examples of somebody who's diabetic and they just like their sweets and their pop. You can educate them over and over and over again about the risks of that. Now, if you're life and death situation, okay, maybe you have to put your foot down on those things, but just like any fully functioning person who has the same diagnosis and is in your family, and you try to tell them over and over again what they need to do, it's still their decision. Yes. Or somebody who smokes, same situation. Now, if they're on oxygen, maybe we got to put our foot down, but all you can do is educate them, and but it's their decision. So you're not making decisions based on what you would do in your life, but it's based on what they would do in their life. And so it's important to know who they are, where they came from, talking with family, anybody who's been involved with them. I'm kind of going all over the place, but there's a lack of guardians that are doing this work, or they're aging out, or they're passing away, parents and things like that, and nobody's made plans what's going to happen to this person for the rest of their life. And so there's a need for a successor guardians is what it's called. And so there's been a movement for more volunteers serving as a guardian of the person. So a guardian of the person is different than guardian of the state. There's a lot of education.
We got you. I'm rolling.
I'm happy to learn it.
We don't. Yes. So guardian of the estate is somebody who would control someone's finances. But like I said earlier, most people don't actually have it in the state to speak of. So there's no control of the money. So those people usually end up having like a payee. Or somebody who does that. So the guardian of the person is making decisions about health care, about where they're living, about the services that they're receiving. You think of like emergency medical consent that you have to give, those type of things. So and the cases that we take are not the most extreme cases. So the cases that we get referred from probate court saying that somebody needs a new guardian, we're meeting them, talking to the people that are involved in their life, see what their situation is, and we want them to be in a stable situation for a volunteer to be able to do that. And my role as a guardian coordinator is to kind of make that happen, make that relationship happen. When we interview interview volunteers, we ask a lot of kind of personal questions too, just to kind of get to know what's important to them.
Of course.
How open they are to other belief systems and things like that, what their experience has been with the different populations that I talked about earlier, to see what's the best match. And sometimes something that looks good on paper, once we put them together, and we always bring them out to visit, and sometimes it just doesn't click. We're like, okay, so that's okay. We want to make sure that they're going to like, they eventually sometimes aren't too happy with their guardians, but that's okay. So I help kind of get the process in the court. We have a staff attorney at our agency that helps us through that process, and then help them through the hearing and all of that. And so I'm there to help remind them of what their role is as a guardian, but I'm also helping them to make decisions about their person. So if we have somebody who's struggling with their mental health and maybe is making some poor decisions, where they're living, we just kind of brainstorm and say, how can we best support them? Or sometimes that's where my social work background kind of comes in, where we can kind of interpret a little bit what's going on, maybe change the perspective about how we do these things. And I help advocate not only for the person under guardianship, but advocate for the guardian themselves when we work together with their teams.
Yes.
And
Did
I'm
y'all
happy.
understand that?
We're gonna give a quiz, right? Okay.
But no. I'm with you. I'm with you all the way. What I think now, okay, now listening to you, and then just what you think about your fit, trying to fit different people to a certain person. I mean, do you care about, far as like, okay, maybe a black guy with or a black person with a white person? Do you get that?
Well, that, and so
You
as
try to
far,
make sure that fits.
Yes.
Cause
So
I mean, it shouldn't matter.
it
But
shouldn't
then
matter,
some,
but
yeah.
sometimes it does. So as part of the volunteer interview, we did talk about that. What are your it's pretty much like you have an issue with race.
Preference, right.
We ask it in a more
That
diplomatic
culture,
way.
yeah,
But just like what are your
communication barrier.
what's your experience working with people
Yes.
of a different race, gender, religion, social,
That's right.
sexual orientation, those type of things, and you
Yes.
kind of can feel out
Yeah,
how they
right,
answer
right,
what
right.
they're um even with religion too, like if somebody's very strong in their faith,
Mm-hmm.
that could be a great connection to
Yes,
somebody who
that's
a
right.
person under guardianship. That's
Oh, yeah.
but at
Yeah.
the same time, you could have somebody who is not religious,
Right,
and you want to make sure that the volunteer is not prophesizing or
There you go.
pushing
Right.
them.
That's right.
Need to having that openness. So, but yeah, so race can play a
Yeah.
role in that, and so that's an example. Actually,
Yes.
one of the first one of our cases, there was an elderly black woman,
Mm-hmm.
and we matched her with somebody who was available, because we don't have a whole lot of
Yes, right.
full of people, and we went to visit her, and she's a white woman with red hair,
Mm-hmm.
and the lady was she was very pleasant. We had a really great talk, and she liked her, and I said, well, what would you think about her being your guardian? She's like, well, she lived with mental illness, and she said, well, I'm a little afraid that my hair is going to turn red like her. I was like, all right. So we're like, okay, so that's just not going to work, It's not going to work. Okay. Right. So you just kind of feel it.
Right.
We interview the person that on guardianship too, so we get to know a little bit more about them. But we ask them that. So, would you like to have a man or a woman?
Right.
Yes,
It
for
depends
sure.
on, like, does the race matter to you? Does
Yes,
gender
yes.
matter to you? Because some people have a lot of trauma.
Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Yeah.
The people that we serve are victims of crime to some extent,
Right.
within either in their childhood or financial
Yes.
exploitation, scamming, those type
Yeah.
of things. So if somebody is experiencing trauma, from a father figure or a man, and they're a woman, that may not be a good match for them.
Right.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
we're always looking for a wide variety of people.
And that's
We
pretty
did
awesome.
have a person of color that was a guard, but she's moved out of town, so she's no longer serving as that. So yeah, so we're always kind of looking for that variety.
And that's great that they can kind of like have a preference as well. They're not just taught. Yeah, that's nice. Because I worked with disability group home for a while, and so I've always, the guardians came and things, but I wasn't really sure. Like, I never knew that they volunteered for one.
Well, not all of them do, but
Oh, okay.
that's what we're trying to do.
Well, yeah, that's nice, because they loved it when they were able to come out and kind of go, to the movies, out to eat, something like that, and to just have that person they can kind of talk to outside of the employees that are already working with them. Like, that's nice. That's real nice.
Yeah. You just kind of coordinate that effort, and so the people, your pool of people, how is that? Trying to get somebody to be a guardian and understand.
Well, it's difficult to recruit people.
Yes.
The pandemic really threw
Yeah.
us off.
Yeah.
So we weren't out in the community as much, but we've presented to churches or bulletin, because we do have a monthly information session that we try to offer, just so you can learn about what guardianship is,
Yes.
what it means to be a guardian. There's no pressure. It's just
Right.
and then that's usually where we've gotten some of our people. Some of them have read like a story in the newspaper. We've gone to the fair every year. We've done some like health fairs, the community health fairs. We've spoke with Optimist Club,
Yeah.
and we're hoping now that COVID's kind of on the low level, that we might be able to get back to some of those community presentations. We put our flyers up around the community, coffee houses and the library, and things like that. A lot of it's word of mouth also.
Right.
I've seen a billboard, maybe.
I did do that.
Yes, you
we
did.
had the billboard.
Yeah.
We have
Where the
billboards
billboard
up.
at?
Right
Is it
now
still
it's
up?
on.
I seen it somewhere. Prime
Me too.
Victim
I
Service.
seen it too. I just.
Is
Well,
it
no,
on
look.
now?
Oh, really? That might be it.
Be.
I know. I think I saw it on a
kinda
light of
switched-
it, but
Yes.
That's
okay.
over my area, out of
Okay.
town.
I
Yeah.
switched it around town for the last few years.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
All right. All
I said, I know I seen it somewhere.
You ever
It
have it
sounds
outside?
familiar.
What's that?
You ever have it outside?
We had it down by Sam's. I can't remember. They
Okay.
had it, when you get them, they give you like a population, like how much exposure it
Yeah,
gets.
yeah.
So we try to get, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna get the most
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think we did. I can't remember. We've done it for about 2 years.
Okay. Okay. All right. That's good. That's good. I mean, I'm a fan. I love it. I just, like I said, I want y'all to be able to get everything out that that people, because people don't know. A lot of people don't know about that.
Right, right.
The Guardian program, and that's what I want y'all to know. That's what the whole show is all about. Trying to get you guys more aware about the things that they doing over there. Like I said, a lot of times we run from crime and victim service just even hearing that.
Right.
Right, right, Sonny.
And even the location, like
yeah, but just to hear
sketchy.
Yeah. So just to hear that they got the different branches like that over there, the Guardian program. And so I want to move on to for a minute over here.
Is that all you call me?
No,
Okay.
no. Actually, but okay. So Carla, you went to Cleveland State, right? But you went to
I did go to Cleveland State.
you
Actually.
did, and you're originally from Cleveland.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
I'm from that side of the state.
That side
and then
of
I
the
moved
state.
to Cleveland. I was there for a couple of decades.
Right.
So,
So
yeah,
you raw. You raw. Yeah. But okay, so I mean, the things like poetry and tell me some about yourself, because I mean,
so
you don't think I know nothing about
bit.
that, huh? All right, yeah.
That's right.
So
Okay.
and then I'm even going to go into this ancestral ways. I want to know about,
Right.
You're gonna have to tell us about this, man. Because we like with this beginning of the year, everybody got plans,
Right.
and my thing is to get more in shape.
Okay.
Just to start doing more.
Okay.
Sonny call herself boxing.
Go ahead.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, she called herself.
I ain't sorry yet.
I'll let 'em pass
But I
now.
know
Okay.
I ain't sorry yet. So but she's supposed to be good though. You know what I'm saying? I say it till I see it. I'm like, I gotta.
Hey, I don't
check
got to
it out.
talk about it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so different things like that. So when I hear about ancestral ways, I'm just trying to figure out, where do that go, and just find out a little bit more about you. How do poetry fall into just what you're doing over there? I mean,
Oh, okay.
I mean, do you feel like you have to be that way, and does that help with, just the different people that you run into? And
Okay, when you say be that way, what do you mean?
like just being this bubbly person, with poetry. You seem like you're the person that kind of would, okay, say if we over there and we all about business. You seem like you would be the person that come through, the social worker that would be just having fun. Let me teach y'all how to
I'm always the one acting a fool.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about yourself.
Sure. Well, first of all, you've watched Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, right?
Yes.
Okay, so Mikey is my spirit.
Oh my
What I tell you, man?
That's like the only way to explain me. Cause
Okay.
I care about very serious things and I do very serious things, but I usually I have to find something silly to say.
Right.
Yes. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good.
So, I came here from Cleveland. My background is in education.
Okay.
So, I went to Cleveland State for education in English, became an English teacher, got my master's in education and curriculum design and instruction.
Okay.
And so what I did in Cleveland was I taught English speech journalism at the high school level. And then I also did some college teaching of English, a lot of tutoring, and I was a master teaching artist, which I always thought sounded great. Master teaching artist for Artworks, which is young audiences.
Right.
Yeah, national program. So taught performance poetry, slam poetry. And I was on the Cleveland Slam team, the national slam team.
Wow. So that's interesting.
Yeah. So I like to use the poetry, and I use that when it's helpful. I've done special workshops. I came into crime victim services violence prevention educator. So that's what I do. Is everybody else is off being wonderful advocates and helping people after they've been the victims of a crime. And then the prevention team, our little group, is out there trying to stop it before it starts.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. See, that's what I was trying to get to.
Yeah.
You know, you seem like you did it. Your title seemed like the one that's that's kind of just making them feel happy, and making them feel like
That's right.
they somebody.
And
you know what I'm
heard.
saying? Yeah,
Well,
and heard it. Yeah.
when they ask me what I do, I usually just tell people that I teach folks how to not be a rapist. And I think that I'm not so sure if my director is happy that I'm saying what I do, because that's, I mean,
That's the truth.
yeah,
Yes,
that's the truth.
yes,
Ideally,
yes.
our goal is to help kids and adults have healthy relationships
Yes. Mm-hmm.
that and be able to walk away from when they recognize an unhealthy relationship.
Right.
Yes.
And teach people just how to love each other better and what consent is really all about. And I think that'll go a long way towards improving a community.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
When
Yeah,
people
for
understand those things.
Right.
Especially in today's age where there's so many like communication barriers to where like
Or too much communication.
or too much, right? Too
Yeah.
much access, early
Yeah.
age and everything. So
Yes.
that's good. That's
Yeah.
great what you're doing.
So and you had called him your partner in crime. My team is my partners in anti-crime.
Right.
Yeah. So we teach all over Allen County and Putnam County.
Okay.
And that's what we work on is recognizing healthy and unhealthy,
So
understanding what
how
consent
are
is.
people out there? Are they receptive to to your your approach and everything?
The students are always incredibly receptive.
Uh-huh.
We took some elements of the curriculum and turned it into a poetry workshop for the kids out at the juvenile detention center. And that went amazingly well.
Awesome.
And so we brought in members of the community, including like the mayor and all that, and the kids got to read their work
Okay.
for the community members, and we produced a book of their poetry.
Okay.
Oh wow, that's nice.
Well, and the thing is like when you're looking at kids in juvenile detention center, there's no way they aren't also victims of crime.
Of course.
Okay.
And people like to forget that.
That's right.
Like, those kids have had something or several somethings happen
Yes.
that made ending up in JDC acceptable to them.
That's right.
Okay.
Products of their environments.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And that sounds kind of cliche to say.
It does.
But
It's the truth.
it really is the truth. And I know it because of the research and because of the real life talking to them and
That's right.
seeing what they're dealing with and where they came from.
Right.
And a lot of times the poetry gives them a way to like truly express what they've been through or what they're feeling and be heard in a way that they haven't been heard.
Yes, that's
right.
right. Now you been into the you done any poetry slams yet?
Not since I moved here.
Uh-huh.
So like I've read a few places. I read for the Juneteenth last year.
Yeah.
Like I'm not all in the mix like Miss Courtney.
Hey, but hold on for a minute. You gonna give us something?
No.
Come on. But you know what though, man? Every now and then we gotta step out. We gotta break away and take a break. We gotta go pay bills, okay? So guess what? S.M.K Kings gonna step away for a minute. We got a lovely another lady that came in the house. We gonna see who she is right quick. But guess what? S.M.K Kings gonna step away for a minute. We love you and we out. Okay, here we go again. We right back here, S.M.K King Podcast. We right back from break. Everybody needing a water break. I mean, we got the ladies over here. They out talking me. They need water, so we got to give them something right quick and hydrate them and keep them going. Okay, but we up in here with the crime and victim services, and man, I mean, we just hearing all the different things that they've been doing, man. It's just awesome, man. We on Carla now, and Carla just, man, she's full of life, and Katie is too. Katie, she at first she was kind of nervous, but now look at her, man. She the best it is, man.
She's a pride.
But we back here from break, and we just want to tell y'all, like we always do, we self-made and we love y'all. Okay, we back, Carla. So before we left, we was talking about like on the how you just get people in different moods, and I think poetry is just a way to the soul, kind of.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Poetry saved my life.
Really?
I'm actually a trauma relationship survivor, and without poetry, I don't know where I would have been, but it saved my life.
That is awesome.
Yeah, so I can only imagine
not
what
the
it's doing
relationship, but it had right.
Especially with the juveniles and the younger, because I did poetry younger, but I didn't really have anybody there to tell me, like, well, just write down how you feel,
Right.
Yes.
So
yes.
that's so great what you're doing there.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And I mean, and you see that as you go along too, right? I mean, you can
yeah.
actually see that. You know, I bet it put people in a good mood.
Okay.
Okay. So just going back to Katie. And you too, because we want to try to make sure that we get out all the different programs that you got out. Too.
Right.
You know, and you was telling me it's just like almost 9 to 10 different programs that you have out there. Now, how are you able to get all those programs just to the masses, to the people? So tell me something about the programs first. I know violence prevention.
Sure. So we do. We have 9 programs, basically because we have so many different types of victims of crime.
Right.
And those victims, so like Katie's talking to you about, the elders and the guardianship program. And often what we see is that people will take advantage of different weaknesses or whatever in different ways.
Okay.
So elders might be more susceptible to like scams.
Right.
Or identity fraud.
Okay.
Where when we're talking to youth, it might be gun violence or assault or sexual assault.
Right.
And so it really all depends. And so also the way things work, we're primarily grant funded. And so you're looking at what does the federal government or the state government or your locality prioritize, and how can we help in that area? So yes, most of our programs are advocacy programs after a crime has been committed. Prevention, we are trying to. People are realizing that prevention education is really truly the most cost effective and the best way to actually stop crime before it starts.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Prevent.
So that's what I do teaching and all that, but then also we have a Caring Adults series where we're teaching adults how to be approachable enough that kids are willing to come to them and talk to them about what issues they're facing.
Yes.
So say you're sexually assaulted and you're 16, the school guidance counselor might think that they're, of course, the person they're going to go to, but the student might be like, no, I've had a horrible interaction with them. Or,
exactly.
I told them one problem and they called my mom.
Yeah, don't feel comfortable with them
right,
at all.
Right. So we talk about how to actually be that person that kids feel that they can approach, and what to do once you have been approached. Like what are you legally obligated to do? What don't you? Some things you don't have to do that people think they have to.
Right.
Stuff like that.
Yes.
And then we have a community violence prevention coalition that we actually are kind of revamping right at this moment in time because the community has been dealing with so much gun violence, gang violence.
Yes.
Our original focus was on sexual violence and youth, but what we're seeing is that because of the different issues, we're looking, and they're all related.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, definitely.
Big cycle.
Right. Like a privilege and oppression, crime, all of it's like just tied in together. And you can't end one kind of oppression without ending all of it.
Right.
So the purpose of the coalition is to bring in everybody in the community who's working in different areas. For instance, we have the Black Ministerial Alliance with Dr. Butler. He's doing great work on gang and gun violence. Aaron Austin Burkholder, my director, our team is doing great work on preventing sexual violence. And then the city is working on cultural violence, and educating people around race and things like that. And so looking at those things like sexual violence, domestic violence, cultural violence, gun and gang violence, youth violence. Okay, let's get all the players to the table.
That's what
come up with a violence prevention plan for the whole city, where Dr. Butler can say, "Oh, we're working on these initiatives," and somebody can say, "Oh, well, I was working on that, but maybe I should be working with you instead." So we're not duplicating, and everybody's trying to run their own show.
We're together.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. And then also looking at those secondary things. So it's not that we just need to have the police there and the Black Ministerial Alliance and whatever. We also need job and family services there. We need to have food bank there. We need the school system there. Because are you going to go rob somebody if you already have a
The
job?
needs.
You know? Right,
So my
right.
needs will make me do something that I probably wouldn't want to do, you know? Yes.
Exactly. If I'm warm and fed and cared
Yes.
for at home, then I'm not going to go join a gang as a
Right.
teenager.
That's
You know?
right.
So
That's
we
right.
need to wrap around this whole community. And the thing is we have so many resources here.
Wow. Wow.
It's just making sure that people are actually connecting in the right way, and then also delivering them to the actual people that need them.
Yes. And let me say that again. That's kind of, and let me say that again too, Carla. I want to crime victim services.
There we go.
I got you. But don't have fear. They is not the police. They is not the investigators. They dare to try to direct you in the right direction that you need to go with whatever problem you got.
Right.
And that's the fear that we have out there. That when you say, like I said, crime and victim service, crime victim service. That, you know, naturally, I just say us as a community, you know, we run from things like that.
Exactly.
And so that's what they're here for. You see, I mean, this lovely lady, you see the smile, you see Katie smile.
Right.
Man, they're not going to hurt nobody. All they're going to do is just direct you to the right person, okay?
We're here to help.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
Help
So that's what we
advocate
want
for
to
you.
make sure
Yes,
that you know, you know.
Yeah. A
Yeah.
lot of people do. They assume that we're like associated with the police department
Yes.
or the courts.
And you're nonprofit.
We're a nonprofit, and we're not
Yes.
beholden to
Yes.
anybody. We're not beholden to anybody but our clients.
Right, right.
And we do try to work in tandem with those two systems
Yes.
in ways that serve and benefit our clients.
Right.
You know, but we never get a call from Chief Cortez like you have to handle this person.
Right.
No,
Exactly.
that's not how we
Exactly.
operate.
And sometimes it's us, you know, advocating on behalf of the victim to law enforcement
Right.
to say, look, what's going on with the situation?
Right.
This is, you know, we kind of work in tandem with them,
Yes.
depending on the situation and the case. In our court advocacy program, they're in the court, like once the case is in the court system, we're making sure that the victim's rights are being upheld and that we're advocating for to make sure that they're aware of what's happening, that they're getting notifications of hearings and what's happening in the court systems. We're there for their voice.
Okay.
Because after trauma, you really feel like you don't have one.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
big systems can be scary to navigate.
It can.
Yeah.
There's a lot of big words,
Right.
a lot of legality things that
Yes.
you know common people don't, you know, lay person doesn't understand, and so we're there to put it in, you know, real life terms and explain it. Because an attorney, you know, may not have the time to do that. Judge isn't going to take the time to do that and explain, you know, what all these laws mean. But we can help them through that.
Okay. Now say this: if I was an elderly person and I'm just living by myself and I got bad kids in the neighborhood, and when they come by, all of a sudden they break my window out. I mean, what type of help do she got? Because it's not like a real crime, but it's. I guess,
it is. It's vandalism.
It's considered it is.
Yep,
It's a property crime.
Yeah, I mean, so is it help for?
So sometimes if we are connected to somebody that's a victim of property crime or like a window or a door, if they know who it is, you know, that's one. You know, they can. We always encourage people to make a police report because that kind of opens a door for other resources that you are eligible for. Yes.
Right.
Because even if it's not our agency that can help you, we're going to connect you to somebody that can help you.
Okay.
You know, and we may have some extra resources that we're able to purchase, help purchase locks or work with the landlords, you know, whoever's responsible for fixing those things, making sure that we're pushing them to get it fixed.
Yes.
And sometimes that's a great example because sometimes we talk with the elder and we kind of just ask them kind of what's going on all together, but you might find out this is a tense situation and there's a particular kid that keeps threatening.
Because they have one time, most of them done it again.
And then you might find out that person has a family member living with them with drug abuse issues, drug dependency issues, and that's happened on several occasions where you kind of uncover something, but you start creating a relationship with that victim, with that elder, where they feel comfortable or safe sharing these things, and then there's a whole bunch of other things that we can help them do.
I like that. So the other programs like the child advocacy and the court advocacy, that's the
well, the court advocacy, like I said, once a case goes into to the court system, our advocates are there to make sure that the victim is aware of all the processes through courts and restitution, making sure that the victim's voices heard, helping them with victim impact statements that they can read on their own. If they're not comfortable doing so, our advocates will read it on their behalf.
Okay.
They're able to communicate with the prosecutor's office and find out, what's happening with each situation to make sure the victims are aware of that. And that's all in all of the court systems. So the juvenile court, municipal court, common pleas court, felony court.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the 4. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they'll often work closely with the sexual assault advocates, the day one.
Okay.
The day
Or
one
yeah,
team.
or the elder victim ministry,
Right.
or I mean, there's it's oftentimes there's time we kind of overlap.
Yes, for sure.
right.
So because they're so busy, they're physically in the court houses all day long, going through all these different cases. So if there's something identified that there needs to be some safety planning in place, or resources to get connected to counseling, or WOCAP, if they need help with housing, those kind of things, our other programs can get involved with that aspect.
Okay. That's awesome.
That's nice. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's really
yeah,
nice.
for sure. Now, do you encourage, say you went, because you do like holistic ancestral. I want to find that out more about that. What's the ancestral ways? That's on your test. They got that on your. She say she studied poetry. She studied ancestral ways.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering about that.
Because I want to know what that means. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, you were saying, I'm like, is he talking about a book that I should?
But tell us about that, because I want to know how that fit in with what you do.
How that fits in. So I was talking about empowerment, self-defense, and
self-defense.
yeah,
Man, okay. That's why she got. That's why when I said boxing over there, she took up for you. You don't know. She may.
She knows.
Well, I had the good fortune. Crime Victim Services sent me for training.
Okay.
To Empowerment Self-Defense Global. Was offering a training in Columbus for Black women specifically.
Okay.
Because they felt that we needed more people in the community that were able to. So I took the teacher training. So I learned how to defend myself, and then also how to teach it to other people.
Okay. So you took the.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was very intensive, long days,
yes.
and kicking people with lots of padding on.
Okay.
But when I say ancestral ways, so for instance, I am very interested in things like that, learning how our community, and by that I mean the Black and Brown community, do things. How do we do things differently? And how did our parents, our grandparents, our ancestors, how did we handle things outside of the structure that we are currently raised in?
Yeah, see, that's what I wanted to know about.
Right.
Yeah,
so learning, all sorts of things from Mexican and African gardening practices, to Black women self-defense. Like I'm interested in all of it, know, and that works very well because what I see when I'm working with students or I'm working with adults even is that sometimes the way things are organized, people aren't comfortable with it.
Right.
And so I'm interested in it, not in an exclusionary way, but in other words, this is how our culture can do this. And I invite everybody to partake in it this way.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So it's not only Black people come to this meeting or anything like that.
Right.
Or I'm only going to teach brown kids.
Yes.
It's like, this is how we can do this differently, and I'm inviting you in.
Yes.
Right.
And
That's
so
right.
the empowerment self-defense is related to prevention because we also do a lot of talk and training in our curriculum about boundaries and setting boundaries. And so the empowerment piece is learning those verbal defense skills.
Yes.
Learning to appreciate yourself that you set those boundaries, emotional,
Yes,
physical,
awesome.
all of them. And then the self-defense part comes in with what if somebody, and especially somebody that doesn't give a damn about your boundaries.
Right, exactly.
What do you do next? And that's where the self-defense piece comes in.
And that builds confidence anyway.
Knowing
how to defend yourself.
Yes.
Especially when you haven't been able to defend yourself. Like having that teaching of somebody showing you, like, you can defend yourself, because sometimes you just got to be told, like,
Yes.
you know, you can defend
And
yourself.
that, I don't know.
Yes.
It was 15 women, and I don't know any one of us that didn't cry before that week was over.
Right.
Right.
And
Right.
we all managed to not only pass, but I broke a board that thick.
Okay.
I always thought that was something. I thought that was like
That
easy
is.
stuff. Like, oh, they know there was some balsa wood or something. And she came with this box of boards and set it down in front of us, and we're like, we can't break those. What are those? We can't do things. We can't do that. You know, and we did it.
You'd be surprised what you can do. The body
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly. And I was the young one. Let's just say I'm not young.
Right.
So I'm timeless, but I'm not young.
Come on.
So
there you go.
yeah, and we all broke those boards.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Now, when you went to, okay, so even taking that, what you know, and then going into, like, you know, out into your job world, do you ever, like, feel, like, intimidated, anything like that, by some of the people that you be running into? Because, I mean, you know, guardianship means that you gotta be the person that's be there, you know, so sometimes the situation don't always, you know, the person can be kind of a little erratic or something. Do you run into those type of situations, do y'all, at all?
We try to support each other.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes clients will come into the office, or people that aren't clients that are maybe hostile,
yes.
or are not satisfied or don't understand what's going on with their information. Sometimes you're dealing with, you know, parents that don't want their kids to get the services that they need after an assault.
Yes.
So we run into obstacles, but I am honestly, I have never, like, I don't BS. I've never worked at a place where I have so much respect for my coworkers. Like, Katie's heart is huge, and her knowledge and her ability to just, I'm never going to stop being impressed here. You know, and the same with, like, our sexual assault advocates. When I'm looking, like, every day you're hearing that, and because it's like a lot.
It's heavy.
It's heavy, right? We call it vicarious trauma, you know, and not everybody can do the work that they all do.
That's right.
Day,
That's right.
But they do it well. They do it with pride, and they do it with, like, care in their heart for the people that are coming in. You know?
Yes.
So yeah, cool. I think because of that, for the most part, we don't have too many people being hostile to us.
Right.
You know,
we've been working really hard towards trauma-informed care.
Yes.
Too, because most people have some type of trauma in their life. And when you meet, you can't make the assumption of what they've gone through.
Right.
And so we need to treat everyone kindly and patiently, and learn to listen well.
Yes.
Because we do have people that are really upset, and they've gone through horrendous things, and
because is that mother, like, is she mad at us
about
the things we want to help her daughter with, or is she
it's
traumatized because
some other things that went on?
You know,
or it's just, you know, we have guardians who have been guardians for a long time, and now all of a sudden they're getting, like, you know, conferenced into the court because they're not doing what they're supposed to do, and they're like, I never had to do it before, you know. So just coming to me and explaining, look, there was a law change. The judge has to do this.
Yeah, so it's different.
You know, and so yes, he knows you've been the guardian for so long, but that's just how it, you know, is what it is. And you know, just explaining that to them, when a lot of people just don't take the time to talk to each other.
Right.
Or people in higher power positions don't take the time to just have a conversation and explain something to somebody, like a person.
Right.
And so when we're able to do that, we break down that aggressive wall, like, because they're just like, okay, they feel listened to, and even there's times when we can't do anything for them,
right,
but we're listening to their story, and we're empathizing with them, and we're telling them, we're so sorry that happened to you, and we're going to do whatever we can do, or try to get you, you know, connected. Just and I think we're getting that feedback from survivors and victims too.
Right.
Yeah, people know when you care. That's one thing about it. And it's like, okay, now y'all can sit here and y'all can talk about everything that's going on within your profession. But then for you to turn around and then you can say how much you appreciate her, you know, and she probably never heard that, you know what I'm saying? But you get a chance to. Right, good.
Try to be good to each other.
And I'm glad, because, you know, like I was saying before, I want y'all to know that your work don't go unappreciated.
That's
you know,
right.
okay, and that's what the show is all about, to let people know that we got y'all over here in your agency that feels this way about people and really out here trying to help, you know, to get people through whatever situation that y'all going through.
And that's nice to know that you guys don't, you know, and really.
And you can see that they feel it too.
Exactly. But like in my situation, like I've always known about crime victim services, but I never thought about in my trauma to come to you guys because I always thought you guys were in cahoots with LPD, you know what I'm saying? So, but in my community, that's just the rumor. So it's like, it's good to let people know that that's not the case. So
it's not.
Yeah. And that's crazy too, because she been through a lot too, you know, and she be talking about that, you know, and like I said,
because you got to talk about it, because sometimes when you are a trauma victim, you feel like you're the only one. And sometimes just knowing that somebody else has gone through something, that will make you break your cycle of abuse and to move on and to just find that clarity, you know, that closure that you need, and to talk about it.
Yes, that's real. And you know what, and that's even thinking about that, it's just so many different people that y'all affect that you don't know that you affect.
Right.
And so thinking about that,
not all
right, and talking about it, we're gonna take a quick break again. And I got somebody that y'all have touched specially, okay? And we're gonna bring them on and we're gonna let them talk about that right quick, okay? All right. Hey, we gonna get ready to get up out of here. Self-Made Kings gonna step out for a minute and we will be right back. Here we go again. We right back here. We only stepped out for a minute, man. We right back, man. We loving it, man. We up north right here. Lima, Ohio. Liberty, Lima, Ohio, man. But we big, man, with the heart thing around here, right? Okay, man. We got all these lovely ladies, man. I feel like a king amongst all these
as you
It's pretty cool, man. But before we get going, I got a special person that came on the show today, and her name is Miss Linda. How you doing? That's the Linda. Thank you. Linda got something that she gonna tell us about, but we gonna say that before we get up out of here. I got some more other things I'm gonna run through with crime victim service.
There you go. Come on now.
Okay, and we gonna let Linda tell the story about how you guys have affected her. Okay. And it's awesome, man, because I heard that I had to have it here. Okay, but let's do this.
Okay.
Court-appointed special advocates.
I'll do that one.
Yes.
So that's our CASA program, and that's also a volunteer-based program.
Okay.
And where a volunteer is highly trained and then appointed through juvenile court to be the voice of a child who's been the victim of abuse, neglect, or dependency. Well, dependent.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Both in Allen County and Putnam County.
Okay.
And they stay with that child through the court case, whatever that might be, and advocate for what they feel is in their best interest and what the child is needing in what a given situation.
Okay. Awesome. Child Advocacy Center.
Our Child Advocacy Center, isn't that actually housed in Lima Memorial?
Yes. I mean, they just moved.
Oh, they did just move.
Yeah.
Okay.
But near it.
So the idea of the Child Advocacy Center, and that is a collaboration between a few different organizations, but the director is from Crime Victim Services.
Okay.
And what they do is, let's say that a child has been hurt or sexually assaulted, something like that. The Child Advocacy Center is a way to have everything done at one time that needs to happen for that child. Like if we need to do a special sexual assault exam, have a forensic interview, take a statement for the police or whatever, everybody's going to come at one time to one place with people who are trained to work trauma-informed care and also with children.
Yes.
And so that way that child isn't re-traumatized telling their story over and over and over again.
Got you. Now, court advocacy.
Actually, I think,
we did touch on that.
Yeah, we talked about that one.
Day one, we did hit on that day one too, but give them a little bit more.
Yeah, so day one is very similar to court advocacy because they are advocates who work right away with victims.
Okay,
they are sexual assault victims or sexual violence in some way. And they are able to provide more wraparound care than the court advocates would, because the court advocates too many. But yeah, they're going to work with them and make sure, like, if they need counseling, we're going to get them counseling. If we need whatever you need, and they're going to follow you for the length of that. And you can get a day one advocate without ever filing a police report.
Okay.
Like, they'll ask you and they'll help you if you want to do that, but we believe victims. And so, yeah.
Human trafficking aspect.
But yeah, same with human trafficking.
Okay. Okay. Elder Victim Ministry.
Elder Victim Ministry is we work directly with victims who are elders,
Okay.
with different types of crimes, and we also do a lot of outreach and education about. We do a lot of financial exploitation, scams, things like that. We've been presenting to banks.
Okay.
So that they're aware and what to look out for, different community programs, the Lime Towers and Community building. Pre-COVID, we used to be able to have a lot of support groups and things like that, but we've been trying to get back in there now to educate the residents and so they can share that information.
Yes.
We're always encouraging people to kind of check in on their elders.
There you go.
Part of our program is Are You Okay? And that is volunteer based also, where it's a weekly phone call to victims who are isolated in our community and don't really have people that are looking in on them. And so we want to check in on them, see how they're doing, give them a little bit of education to help hopefully prevent re-victimization.
Yes.
And we also have a Hello Neighbor program, which is similar to that. And your sisters actually are volunteers, where they it's a little bit more intensive, where they get to have some visits, one-on-one in-person visits with them for support. And we're also educating law enforcement and giving a lot of. And also we also provide some information and advocacy for people who have disabilities, age 50 and up.
All the things.
All the things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Guardian program itself.
We covered that.
We covered that.
Yeah.
Relationship violence.
That's part of, so I think that one is, because we operate in Putnam County as well.
Yes.
And so I think that is just kind of describing kind of a blending of the day one and the prevention of what we do in Allen County.
Okay. Now Putnam.
Don't worry about it.
Okay. Now Putnam County is like what? Heading up towards Toledo.
Ottawa. We're based in our office is in Ottawa.
Okay, Ottawa. Yes. Okay.
And we have the same core advocacy program. I mean, we have almost
all the same things, except we don't handle domestic violence as often.
Yes.
Or only in certain cases, I should say, in Allen County and in Putnam County, because here we have Crossroads Crisis Center that handles that.
Yes. Okay.
But in Putnam County, it's Crime Victim Services that would handle that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Violence prevention.
And that's what what I was talking about.
Okay.
So that's community, a lot of in the schools, but also working. Sometimes I've done like sexual harassment sessions for businesses. Whatever anybody wants us to come out and talk about.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, what about say you out there and you was an elderly victim and you really don't know who to go to, because you're saying that you got a lot of your parents, a lot of the family members, that's is guardians right now. Okay, so I mean, and we want to try to get more people guardians, but and if the family is falling off, it's not really it's not wanting to do it no more. Then you got to get somebody else to go. So where you pulling from? Kind of like where would you get your pool from? Well, and is the pool filling up? I mean, because you pretty much need people to be guardians right now, right?
We have 10 volunteers right now, and we have 7 of them are appointed. We have 7 cases that they're appointed. It's hard to predict when we get a referral because we work with probate court, and sometimes they don't realize that there's a problem until there's a problem, and then they right. And so,
the community, right? We're reaching out to the community.
Yeah, just kind of anywhere in the community. Are people who have one of our first volunteers? He had actually served as a guardian for 2 different family members.
Okay, so he had done it before.
He kind of came in. He had done it before. He did more than we had done.
Yeah.
And we also and I didn't say this earlier, we also provide support for family guardians,
Okay.
where they're not necessarily our volunteers, but they're identified as, that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you did say that they are a nonprofit.
Yes. Feel free to donate.
Oh yeah, donations accepted.
Yes.
Well, we're on Facebook. We have our Crime Victim Service Agency as a whole has a Facebook page. The Guardian Program has its own.
Okay, they on Facebook.
We're on
What
Facebook.
about IG?
We're on Instagram.
Instagram.
Actually, yeah.
So,
Instagram. As well.
Instagram, Facebook, and after this show today, you're gonna be on Spotify,
Right?
YouTube.
That's
You're gonna be
right.
everywhere.
Exactly. We're gonna be famous. Right?
And also, we have our chat. We have our Resource Connect.
Oh yeah, you should.
So yeah,
talk about that.
on our website, there's a way for you to chat with an advocate. So
Okay.
During our business hours, you can, if you have a question, if you need to ask us for some services or some
You got.
resources, you can just
So you
chat.
got on like chat. Okay.
Yeah, because some people don't want to call.
Some
Yeah.
people don't want to call. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And I think it works over texting.
Yep.
Too.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's a new program, so we're
And that helps.
still.
That helps.
Yeah,
Because sometimes
that's
you'd be
nice.
surprised, like you say, somebody know to call, but they may be quick to,
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I tell you what, let's get going. Let's
Okay.
get going.
Okay.
Linda,
Yes.
I asked this lady, this young queen, to
Yes.
come in here
Right.
today
That's right.
Thank you.
to speak to you queens about how you affected her life.
Hey, you guys are gonna make us cry.
Yeah.
But Linda,
We
tell
do
us a
cry.
little bit something about where you
Don't
come
blame
from, exactly what happened.
Right. Okay, well, I had married my high school sweetheart, and in 2017 he was murdered.
Sorry to hear
And
that.
right, and I'm not for sure how I even got in contact with Crime Victim Service on my own. Really, Miss Phyllis, God bless her soul, she
Miss Phyllis
was
again.
wonderful. I loved her. She was a great person. She showed me so much support.
Right.
And she reached out to me, and all the times that I had to go to court and that I didn't know what to do, what to say, or needed some support, Crime Victim Service was there. They was truly there. And if she couldn't be there, somebody was there for me
Right.
through all the courts, through all the trials, and he didn't get caught. The guy didn't get caught until 2 years later.
Okay.
And when that 2 years later came, she reached out to me.
Mhm.
And they said, hey, look, we see that, he's caught. So you're going to be going to court. When you go to court, we're going to be right there with you. And true, they was. I mean, it was just, they were so wonderful, to
Yes.
where I had somebody, some support behind me.
Right.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then every time that whatever went on,
Mhm.
she always made sure that I was on it. That she was letting me know what was going on with everything, with my husband murder, and what's going on with the detectives,
Mhm.
and she just gave me so much report,
Yes,
and the whole
that
crime
matters.
victim.
Yes.
It matters. It
Wow.
really do matters, and I'm just so grateful just to know that you guys are here. You put a very big impact
Yes.
on my life. Just to know that you guys was here, you supported me, and like you said before, sometimes you think that you're not for sure when you go to Crime Victim Service what they really for.
Right.
But I had a hand-on experience
Yes.
with Crime Victim Services, and they was really, really supportive and helpful
Right.
to me. I mean, just if they said be at the court at 9:00, they was
Yeah.
there at 8:30.
Yes.
They was sitting there
Yeah,
waiting
that's
on me.
right.
Wow.
They were sitting there waiting
That's
on
right.
me,
Yeah.
and it was numerous of times.
Yes.
It wasn't just that once or that twice.
Mhm.
It was talking to the prosecutor. It was talking to
Yeah.
the whole judge.
Yes.
Judge Reed
Mhm.
was he was really I really do like Judge Reed because
Mhm.
out of respect, I see that he had respect for Crime Victim Service as well. To just be there, just to support me over all the things that I had went through.
Right.
Right.
Because it was like we didn't know that if he was going to ever get caught.
Right. For
And
sure.
right, and then we found out that he was in a whole nother state.
Mhm.
And then when some kind of way he heard that they was on him,
Mhm.
he moved to another state.
Mhm.
But I tell you, that U.S. Marshal,
Mhm.
you know what?
Come
Really,
on.
I would have never thought. I never would have thought that 2 years later they would have found my husband, killer,
Yes.
and took justice.
Wow.
Right.
And a lot of that
That's
have
right.
something to do with Crime Victim Service. And I thank y'all again, over and over again. You are wonderful. I
I'll
had
hook you some
some
support.
Yes.
Man, y'all got me going, man, up in here. Come on, man.
Thank you.
That's what she's doing for.
Yeah. Yeah, but it was just good just to have that support.
Right.
Yes.
Just to know that someone was there for me.
Yeah.
You know, you have your family, but you know your family, they just as sorrow than you are.
Right.
And when you got somebody professional that can step in and say, "Hey, we got your back."
That's right.
You know, whatever going on, we know all the court dates. You have to be at court at this time.
Yes.
You got to be at court at this day. They was on it, and that's just what they did for me, and I'm really thankful. And then they did the brick.
Yes.
Remember the brick? I love
Yes.
it. I love the brick. And Miss Phyllis called me. She said, told me about that they do a brick with the name on it. And so that was something that was honored.
Yes.
And I really love that. I went up, she showed me, she called me to the office, she showed me the brick, how they was gonna put his name on it, and put all it down in front of the Crime Victim Services.
We just told us about that. Wow.
Yeah, so.
Man, y'all, listen here. That's so awesome, man, just to hear that right there. Linda, man, you a blessing, man.
Thank you.
I wanted them to hear that because, like I said, they doing so much, man.
And that's what they do it for.
Yeah.
That's the reward.
So here's your reward.
That's
Yes,
it.
yes,
That's it.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah, testimony. That's so.
And I know through God I had to forgive him.
Yeah, so we need to go on.
That's
Right,
right.
really.
That's right. It was not for me to judge. It was for God.
There you
God would judge that.
Yeah.
But I felt good because he was caught
Yeah,
He
that's
confessed,
right.
and he got some time.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
A lot of people was like, oh, he didn't hardly get nothing. He only got 10 years. I said, you know what? The rest of them years, that he have to deal with that.
Yeah, that may be 10. That 10 years may be the hardest 10 years you ever.
Right.
Yeah, that's
but
true.
I got ways
That's
to
true.
dealing with it.
Yes, he does.
But you know what though, man? It's just crazy, man. We can sit here and we can listen to this and just listen to that. Just put it all together. Now, she just said everything that's good about Crime Victim Service. And I just want y'all to just, man, when you get a chance, check them out. Don't be afraid. Remember, the show is all about trying to bring more awareness to things that they're doing. Man, they're great, man. I mean, all the way down from the head to the toe, because that's where it started. If it started with Miss Phyllis, look what's branching off the street.
Yes.
We got the great Katie. We got the extravagant Carla. So man, I mean, that's what comes off. That's what comes off the branch, man. Y'all awesome, you know what I'm saying? And I see it in y'all. It's like, it's a lot of times, we got agencies, different things that people go through when they go down there and people act like they don't care about them. I see it in y'all.
Yeah.
I see it in y'all.
Yeah.
And everything that y'all report right here is just so informative to the world, And I want y'all, when y'all get a chance, man, go to YouTube, like, subscribe. And before y'all get out here, don't forget to like and subscribe.
I will.
That's right.
Okay. Hey, and to the world, we want y'all to know that we had them up here today, Crime Victim Services. We got the wonderful Katie, and we got the wonderful Carla. And plus, we had somebody that came in here and testified to how wonderful they is. Linda, man, what a great story, Linda. And I just wanted to give you my condolences. You know that.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, and we want to tell you guys, man, y'all stay with us. Y'all come see us. Y'all remember, we self-made. We the kings and queens. In here today.
Yeah.
So we want to tell you once again that we love y'all. Y'all go see us, man. Like, subscribe. Remember where we at. We over on YouTube, Spotify. That's we all over. IG, Facebook. We want to tell you we love you. And we out. Self-made kings. That means anything that you want to be in life, you can be that. We all kings.